and I'll never back down. In the middle of the ring is where I lay the smack down. Against all odds, I will always prevail. So when you step to me, it's like hell in a cell.
Alright guys, Delzinski here, and welcome to a very special edition of We Talk, and we are going extreme today as we are talking about Extreme Rules, which was the pay-per-view last night. Weeds, do you want to say hello to everybody?
I'm well, mate. I've got the whole world in my hands after last night, so I'm extremely happy today. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm extremely happy as well.
Do you like what I did there?
Yeah, it's very, very clever. Very clever. So yeah, Extreme Rules was last night, and it was quite a good pay-per-view in my opinion. How did you think the pay-per-view went as a whole?
I enjoyed it. I liked bits far more than I liked some other bits. Some bits were still a bit weird, following on from WrestleMania, but overall, I felt it was good. It was kind of, you know, when you get one of those ones straight after a massive event where you're kind of in a holding pattern, and it feels like what we've seen there, we're going to see probably a majority of it again for the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a whole lot got resolved last night. It feels like it's still chugging along nicely. Albeit that we didn't get to see the pre-show. Well, I didn't.
No, neither did I.
Yeah.
Did we miss much?
I don't think so. I don't even know. Did El Torito win, or was it Hornswoggle?
He did win. He put Hornswoggle through a table off a mini ladder for a mini table to pick up the huge win there.
Yeah, I saw the tweets. Everybody was a bit lackluster. They were like, okay, this is kind of obvious to start off the pay-per-view because it's got some nice little gimmicky spots, but overall I think people kind of felt that this being on the card, even on the pre-show, wasn't really that great an idea when they could have had probably a couple of other superstars take that spot.
Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, obviously, Dolph Ziggler. So, I mean, in this episode of Extreme Rules We Talk, we're going to talk about the matches, what we felt about it. I thought it was an okay pay-per-view, but it kicked off with a bit of a bang. I'm not talking about the pre-show. I'm talking about the triple threat elimination match between Cesaro, Rob Van Dam, and Jack Swagger.
Now, I don't know about you. Did they change the rules on this match, or did RVD accidentally pin Swagger?
I don't think they did change the rules, because I was reminded of this when I did one of my simulations, that it was an elimination match.
It was an elimination, okay.
Yeah, I mean...
Because it seemed to surprise the commentary team, didn't it?
Oh, he botched the count, didn't he? I think that's what happened, wasn't it? The count was... Well, the commentary team was all over the place all night.
Well, I thought JBL did a stand-up job.
Are you talking about just his hair there?
No, it was. There was a couple of bodge-free counts, wasn't there, throughout the evening?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a good match to kickstart the pay-per-view. The rightful winner happened. It was Cesaro that got the victory, and there were some nice spots in the match. I did like the way Swagger got eliminated in this match. I thought it was very good, although not very good for Swagger, to be honest.
I was going to say, if you are going to get eliminated, he got suplexed into the ring, didn't he, from Cesaro, and then the 5-star frog splash took him out. I even liked the ending. The ending was good as well, because obviously they started getting the trash cans involved. And then when Rob Van Dam, he looked like he really caught his eye on the edge of that can from the way down from that frog splash attempt, anyway.
Yeah, and then he got nailed with the neutralizer. So
yeah, back on the trash can. He spent a lot of time with that trash can, to be honest with you, didn't he?
I was going to say, I thought with these gimmick-style pay-per-views that there was only one match that was meant to be extreme.
Well, again, I don't know if they just glossed over that, because I just thought it was a triple threat.
Because when he got the trash can out, I was thinking, oh, so every match on this card is Extreme Rules, but it wasn't, because... Well,
couldn't they do a bit of tidying up?
Maybe it was, because later on, you know, we'll talk about that match later, but the Shield Evolution went off in the crowd. It's a bit confusing.
It was. It went a little bit back to the old WCW days when they used to make up the rules as they were going. But no, like we said, I thought that was a good match. RVD, Cesaro and Swagger, great way to kick the pay-per-view off.
Yeah, I thought Cesaro and RVD, because you'd mentioned before that their chemistry weren't great. I thought they got it sorted for this match. Seemed to work much better.
Oh, they had Jack Swagger in there. He's linking it all together.
Yeah, in terms of swagger, I mean, does the Cesaro? Because I thought possibly an idea would have been to have Swagger come running back in and stitch up Cesaro again. RVD getting the victory, but Cesaro won clean, so it's a strong push for Cesaro. RVD came out looking pretty good as well. I thought, the way he missed the 5-star, then got nailed with a neutralizer. Paul Heyman as well, screaming, saying, "This is what he would do. I told you this is what he would do." And Cesaro having to get his game plan on. But for Swagger, I mean, okay, he did get nailed with a finisher and the big suplex, but I mean, not that great for Swagger again.
No, I mean he's the one being left out a little bit here. The only thing I would say when you've got all these kind of these mid carders as they seem to be with Sheamus, Barrett, Big E, if Swagger's going to be involved in something with them regularly, and they seem to be talking. Even Sheamus was talking in between the matches about how the tournament was great, and I think they seem to be involving a lot more superstars. So as long as you keep him in that mix and don't forget him, but the fact he's with Zeb. That's still brilliant. So if as long as he's with him, he's going to be fine. I think after last year when they gave him the main event spot, didn't they? Or was it 2 years ago? And he did he have his DUI just before?
I think he did, yeah. So
I think he's probably been in the doghouse for a little bit, so he's having to work his way back up.
I think if you look at these sort of guys in this mix at the moment, I don't think Cesaro is going to be moving up to that world title picture quite at the moment, even though a lot of people would have liked him to. But if you look at Cesaro, Van Dam, Swagger, Big E, the Barrett, who we'll talk about later, you could build a real good division which would work around the Intercontinental Championship, definitely bringing a lot more credibility back to that belt.
Definitely. I mean, even throwing 2 members of the Shield as well, Rollins and Ambrose, because I assume Reigns is going to be, he seems to be the one picking up all the big pins at the moment, so I assume he's going to be out of that lot, the main event. So, yeah, they're looking really, really good, I think, at the mid-card sort of level.
Yeah, and I think what they've got to do... sorry about that. They've got to capitalise on these guys and the Intercontinental section, because I've been watching a lot of old school WWE, and what I found was, like, you'd have guys like the Warrior carrying the Intercontinental Championship. Now, you've got these big personalities. You've got your Wade Barrett, you've got your Cesaro, you've got your RVD, you've got your Swaggers. They're there now. They're established now. So you just got to make sure that when you develop these feuds, the belt is heavily involved in the feud.
That's it. And I mean, they're the ones that you then kind of give them that kind of litmus test to put them up into the main event picture. But for me, I mean, when you talk about like the late 80s, early 90s stuff, the WWF, that was always the best match on the card, was the Intercontinental title match. And you knew you had the bigger stars like your Hogans and your Warriors in the main event picture, but you knew wrestling wise, you're always going to get your sort of your best match, your longest match probably from that Intercontinental sort of section.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably talk a bit more about the IC title in a moment, but I mean, it was a good start to the pay-per-view. Cesaro, RVD and Swagger kicked it off very nicely indeed. The next match, I'm pretty sure this was the next match, but I could be wrong, because I don't like these sort of matches on pay-per-view cards. I thought it was utterly pointless. I even tweeted, well, this was rubbish. Alexander Rusev versus R-Truth and Xavier Woods.
It's just filler, really, isn't it? We just got to see Lana.
Yeah, it's all a bit. It's all a bit naff, though.
It just seemed to be a heat getter more than anything else. Because I mean, the crowd were pretty good all night, and kind of what you'd expect from that area. But I mean, even going out there and talking about Putin straight away, it, other than trying to get them quite rowdy, I think that was the main point of the match, because you always knew, even if it was 2 against 1 handicap against Woods and R-Truth, it wasn't really ever going to be much of a match, was it?
No, I mean, just as a side note, Putin was more over than Cena, so
yeah, it's not difficult, is it?
But yeah, it felt a bit Ryback-ish, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
And you know where Ryback has gone now, so it worries me that
still smacking his head around somewhere in the back, isn't he?
You know, it sort of reminds me a bit of how they built up Ryback, and that's fine. But would it not be better to maybe stick this guy in a proper feud with somebody as opposed to him just squashing the competition? And ultimately, if they cock it up like they did with Ryback, then you've just got another guy that's going to be lost in the wilderness.
And I think this is where it's good how they've kind of changed those levels where, you really got to be, not to steal a Stephanie McMahon phrase, but a main event player to be in that world title picture at the moment. Because that's what happened to Ryback, stuck him with John Cena, gone. And that's not going to happen, I would imagine, with Rusev, unless they're moving from Kane straight on to Rusev. But that would make no sense whatsoever. So no, if he's going into that kind of mid-card mix-up, because I've been quite impressed with what he can do and the speed he can move at for the size of him.
Yeah, he was pretty nifty. That spinning kick that he did was like, whew, he can fly.
No, definitely, and that's what if you push him into that and keep him with Lana, I think it's quite a good start. I was wondering where they were going with it yesterday. His adopted country, Russian, and thinking, we should have called him Russian. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I thought it was pretty funny. I think it was one of our fellow YouTubers. I think it was Mufta who put, he just looks like a guy that works up your local kebab shop. So I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, the match was as expected, squash basically, and that's what we got. So yeah, I ain't really got too much else to say on it.
Not at all.
The next match was a match that I was looking forward to, and I think the crowd were looking forward to because they wanted to flip the coin, so to speak, and fall on the side of Mr. Bad News, as they went with Bad News Barrett all the way through this match, which led to a new Intercontinental Champion, the UK's own Wade Barrett.
Yep, fourth reign for Mr. Barrett. Did you feel a little bit sorry for Big E?
Yeah, I feel sorry for him in terms of his whole Intercontinental title reign because he had so much momentum before he won this belt.
Yeah, I mean, he never really did anything. I mean, Ambrose does very little with his US title, but I mean, Big E doesn't really feel like he's been featured too heavily in big spots over the last couple of months.
Yeah, but that is it, isn't it? That's why. I mean, Ambrose isn't defending his title that much, but he's involved in major angles. Whereas Big E, if he's going to be involved in a major angle, he had to be involved with the belt. And the trouble was the feuds that they built around the belt weren't that memorable.
That's it. And I mean, even for him tonight, I imagine he'll get his rematch on Raw, the night after. So he's going to be out of there for a little bit, probably going to have to work his way back up. But as we're saying, that mid-card level is stacked or getting stacked. So hopefully he can come back, because as I said, he had so much momentum, winning that title in the first place that it seems to have all petered out a bit. And that's not really what you want to see with a guy, because he's another one who can move and can do fantastic things in the ring. So it was a bit of a shame to end it on that. But obviously, as we're both from England, I don't think we're going to have any problem with Barrett going across, are we?
No, and nor did the fans, for that matter. I think this is well overdue to start re-establishing Wade Barrett as a big name. And if I thought they were going to do this with Big E, but maybe they can do it with Wade, is really focus and drive forward that Intercontinental Championship, change that bloody strap back to black, or just revamp the belt completely, because I feel that the belt don't match the world title anymore. And I have a bit of a thing when it comes to consistency with belts. But what I thought as well, which I think is quite interesting, is that with Wade Barrett, you can develop a lot of decent feuds with this guy because of the way his gimmick and his persona is going along. Like, if let's say he had a feud with an RVD, I mean, the whole Bad News and the podium, interrupting that superstar, week after week, he's easily able to get feuds out of these things and have pretty heated ones determining what his comment is, what Bad News he's going to bring. It's just partnering them up with the right guys.
I was going to say, even the Bad News he brought last last night. Even JBL was like, it's great that he's imparting information. But no, I get completely what you're saying about him there. You know, he has a very wide range of styles that he can go into. And for me, in that whole tournament, the match he had with Sheamus, I thought was one of the standout ones. So, you know, even develop something along those feuds, because I've liked what they've been doing with Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus, good call.
Having some of these more hard-hitting matches. Again, I'm not saying whack people over the head with chairs, but, you know, that match he had with Christian still sticks out to me. I mean, it was a couple of months ago on Raw, and it's still one of my favourite matches of the year.
What I would say is comparison-wise, if you look at Barrett and then you look at Cesaro, Barrett's continued growth, like back to sort of being a bit more established again, because he completely lost it about, I don't know, 6-9 months ago, and they've obviously built him up with this Bad News Barrett gimmick. That's been consistent all the way through, and they haven't deviated from the plan. Even at the start, when people weren't too sure about it, they were like, "Oh, I don't get this. I mean, the podium's quite funny, but I'm not sure." But they stuck with it, and it's worked. It's come off. Now with Cesaro, the way that they changed Cesaro, I actually feel that he's lost momentum because his music sucks. Yeah, I don't get it. The siren thing is just a no. It's not catchy at all. And whereas with Barrett, I don't really like his music because I think it's on 2K14 as well, and it just annoyed me. I was like, oh, it's an annoying song. But that's what's good about it in a way. It is annoying because it's got that thing where he does that boom, and you know that that's Bad News Barrett. Cesaro's completely lost that now by taking him away as the real American, taking him away with the theme song that you associated with Cesaro. I feel that They've missed a trick here with Cesaro, and Barrett's got it now. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, with Cesaro, I think they pressed the blow it up button a little bit too early on the Real Americans. With, you know, because Swagger, you only got to look at him with the We the People thing last night. It's still massively popular. But no, I mean, when we were talking for the WrestleMania 30 predictions, I said, I think I brought up, would they repackage Cesaro? Because I had this kind of funny feeling that they would. And they've only tweaked it slightly. But it's like you say, what they've done is, I think, taken back some of the momentum from him. I think we talked previously about, you know, Lesnar still being that spotlight. He is the main Paul Heyman client. And, I mean, we all expect him to be, don't we, after conquering the streak? I think
show up once in a while, though.
Well, I'm assuming he is going to show up when Cesaro eventually falls out with Paul Heyman. Maybe that's what they're going to look at. But, you know, considering he took the streak, I expected him to be in a title picture pretty soon thereafter. But as Heyman says in a lot of his promos, he can afford to fight when he wants, can't he?
Yeah. Well, it just annoys me that he took the streak and that he hasn't been around ever since.
And that's what, again, we said that the night after, didn't we? It's good if he's going to be there more or less full time, but we knew he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, going back on the Cesaro thing, I just like we've said here, it just feels like to me that there were some key gimmicky elements about Cesaro's character, and they've lost those now. Like I say, his music is just, if that hits, okay, there's a siren. But whenever
I keep thinking Rusev's coming.
Well, there's only one guy that had a siren who I thought was good. That's Steiner. You knew that was coming. But in the ring, Cesaro's not changed. But it's the gimmick that they're actively tweaking at the moment, and it feels like they're gonna. Please God, don't fuck it up like you did with Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel. Not Axel Curtis.
This is not 2K14 roster videos.
Yeah, okay, all right. But yeah, I mean, again, like I did say that this We Talk would be a bit, you know, up and down and talking about things, not just the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, but covering other areas. And yeah, that to me, they've got it absolutely spot on with Barrett, and that is through consistency and sticking with something where at the beginning people weren't sure. Whereas Cesaro, it's almost like they thought they needed to jumpstart it and rush it, and they didn't.
Well, I think the one last thing I'll say on it is, I think when they think that something's popular, they always like to stick their nose in a little bit with a gimmick, and say we're going to do this or we're going to do that. And for me, as a wrestling fan. The only thing I wanted to see Cesaro do was more mic work, because that seemed to be the bit that he was missing. And if he can do that, and you can have a crowd in the palm of your hand, then he's done. You don't need to do anything else with him. He's arguably going to be like your next Daniel Bryan or someone like that. But they've actually taken the mic away from him and given it to Heyman. And
Heyman's just talking about Brock Lesnar all the time.
And this is where it just, you can't build any momentum if it's not about Cesaro, because it never seems to be about Cesaro. So I'm hoping, because like you say, if you become a Paul Heyman guy now, this is bad. CM Punk don't work there anymore. Ryback and Curtis Axel formed a partnership, and this, you see, it seems to be like a tainted brush at the moment. If you get lumbered with Paul Heyman, as much as we love him, it seems to be like the kiss of death, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I don't know why that is, but it just feels that way.
But I love Paul Heyman. So.
Yeah, we all do. I mean, overall, again, this was quite a good match. It was quite a nice match. Nice spots. I like the way that Biggie got out of the way of the first ball hammer, and then got nailed ultimately with the second one. Wasn't really a proper full-on ball hammer, but
no, it was
modified it.
It was a bit back and forth, wasn't it? But it felt like very, very strong for Barrett to come out of that. So no, but as I said, you can't have it really any other way, I suppose, when you're going for a new champion and a slight change of direction in what they're going to be doing with that belt.
Well, it's absolutely 100% due. Because,
it's good news. Good news.
Particularly after all that time ago when John Cena never decided to put Wade Barrett over. But we're going to talk about that. So, I mean, good news for us. We're big Bad News Barrett fans from the UK. And, I think a new Intercontinental Champion and a new Dawn, and hopefully, please get some credibility back on that belt and change the strap to black. I don't know why. I just think it has to happen.
I think we had a bit of a rant there.
No. Okay, so next up, again, I think this is right order. The Shield, Evolution, and for me, match of the night. Probably you're going to agree. I hope.
Yeah, I really liked it. Obviously, the rolling spot was
New Jack-esque.
It came out of nowhere. I didn't even know he was up there. No, it was a good match. I was slightly surprised. We were talking before we did this that I thought Evolution might actually go over, just because I don't see Triple H losing on 2 pay-per-views in a row. But as you quite rightly pointed out, it wasn't Triple H that took the pin, was it?
No, it was good old Dave.
Boo, Bautista. He's still not happy, is he?
I think Triple H gets it, though. I think Triple H gets what needs to be done here with these young guys. They are using themselves as the ones to put them over. Triple H, I think that the right decision was made. The Shield had to win. The way that the Shield actually were put over, they were put over like $1 million. The fact that, they went out in the crowd. They did that. They got the better of Evolution in the crowd. That spot, I knew that spot was coming. I can't believe you said that you didn't think that spot was coming. That was coming a mile off.
No, I was too busy looking at what Ambrose was doing, because he was kind of staggering round and poking people in the eyes and all by accident.
I knew he was diving off of there. I knew it.
I was like, "Where's little Seth gone?" Oh, there he is.
But that was brilliant. And then in the ring, Roman Reigns and Batista as well. Again, Batista putting Reigns over in the right way, clean victory. It all felt right, and that's the way that you make sure that these guys are established as big names in the company. They already are, but if they're the next generation, the next big thing, the guys that are going to start picking up the world titles, and eventually they will split. I mean, I don't know when. I think none of us really want them to split at the moment, but when they do,
no way, not at the moment.
But when they do, I mean, you're going to have these new personas, or these dead cut personas, which, well, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But
I think they're just going to end up being their names, aren't they? Just Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, and probably just little extensions on the characters ever so slightly, because they are all very, very different, aren't they?
Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see the way that they look and the way that they come out. I mean, yeah, match-wise, I thought it was match of the night. It was really good spots, really good moments. Again, I felt like this was quite interesting, but as a pay-per-view, it was called Extreme Rules, and it did get extreme in certain elements, which was good because 9 times out of 10 we have these gimmick names and they never live up to what they're meant to be. I think tables, ladders and chairs, you have one tables, ladders and chairs match, garbage. So, you know, although I thought this was only going to have one Extreme Rules match, it had quite a lot.
I was going to say our view of the pay-per-view structure is probably a whole commentary by itself, isn't it? But no, like you said, just to echo what you said with Triple H, I think he gets it. And if you've seen that the Blu-ray that they made about him, Thy Kingdom Come, the way he's actually embracing that role as the CEO and actually trying to develop as much talent, and what he's done with everything from the developmental center, he's all about bringing the next wave through. So no, I've absolutely loved the match, loved the ending, like the way that Reigns took the pin, all heading in the right direction. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of it.
Yeah, I don't think the feud's done yet.
No.
So I think we're going to see some continuation on Raw, and you're absolutely right. I think Triple H is doing a great job as COO at the moment. I think he's pushing the right buttons.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that, in our opinion, was match of the night. Let us know what you thought in the comments box below about Shield versus Evolution, because it was one of the biggest matches on the card. Next up, it was the Divas match. Paige, the champion, the new champion, versus Tamina Snuka. Well,
I mean, I like both of these two. I think they're good. They're both quite physical. They both hit quite hard. The bump that Paige took on the side of the ring around the outside, that looked like it hurt. It looked like it hurt a lot. But the crowd, were the crowd into it?
A bit, but then you got to take into account what they're following.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I like them. I think Paige is in that kind of. I
don't care for what you'd want to do with Paige. Thank you very much.
She's in that kind of Lita Trish mold, that she proper wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of the stuff. I like the submission move she's got to finish it off as well.
That looks like it really hurts.
I was going to say it's probably something you wouldn't mind being in, I would imagine.
But it looks like it could really hurt. I'm not joking. I mean.
Well, I'm not going to let her put me in it, put it that way. So
when she was doing it to Tamina, I thought, Christ, that looks like it's painful.
But it was good. And this is what I'm hoping we're moving back towards. And I think, again, on previous commentaries, we knew there was this kind of undercurrent of good divas. Hopefully get Emma involved a bit more, because, she was brilliant. No, she's a brilliant submission specialist. Take away the bubbles and all the bits that you hate, and the dancing, because I dance a bit like that.
She didn't make the roster.
She didn't. Oh no. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yes.
Axel Curtis, he didn't make it either, did he? But no. I was going to say, this is what I liked. Going back about 10 years ago, when you had Lita and Trish, and they had that massive main event match on Raw, where they finished the program, and this is what these two who were in that match last night, they were proper wrestlers. They're not just making up the numbers, and they're not there just because of how they look. They actually, they could seriously kick ass if they really wanted to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think they're taking a punt quite early on Paige, though, to be honest. So what is she like? She's 21.
She's 21. Yeah.
So they've gone like quite quick with her. I mean, they've moved her straight up very quickly, but it kind of looks like that's about right, because, as you said, she is a proper wrestler, and I think they've got a mixture now, a good mixture. They've got their divas, and then they've got their good wrestlers. They've got AJ Lee in there as well, and I think that the divas personas are there. They just got to keep working on them as wrestlers. But I think all in all, they're also on NXT. You've got guys or girls still coming up, so. That is
Ric
building.
Flair's daughter and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm hoping that Paige and AJ, get into some kind of lengthy feud at some point when AJ's back, because, as I say, it's all heading in the right direction for me, and great for us from the UK to have two champions on the show at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a good match. It didn't feel like a very long match.
No, it kind of just ticked all the boxes of what needed to happen for Paige, but I would like them to use Tamina Snuka a lot more as well, though.
Yeah, well, this doesn't have to be the end of that feud, to be honest. That can still go on, I think, because AJ Lee's going to have to get back in the mix at some point.
No, definitely. It feels like there's a whole new wave of divas there, so it's great to see, actually, because it's been a bit stale for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100% agree. Okay, so here we go.
Match of the night. This is the real match of the night, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it?
You're going to talk about Cena, aren't you? Come on.
Well, it was match of the night in terms of the outcome. Thank God for that.
Who's that little kid?
That is the higher power.
I don't know. I don't know if he's hit puberty yet, because he seemed to hit it midway through.
that is the higher power that they've been talking about, that Bray Wyatt's been mentioning. That's him. It's that little kid.
It was odd, wasn't it?
Oh no, the best was when they cut to the promo after the match, and he goes, ah, and then the voice thing kicks in. He's like, hello, yeah. I was like, Jesus, what's happened to you?
I was going to say that is the quickest progression through puberty you will ever see.
Yeah, well, there's something got to come out of this, because that boy, there has to be an importance with that boy. So I
was going to say, unless you are not turning Cena here at some point during this feud, and we've debated this years and years and years and years and years, it doesn't really make a lot of sense where this is going, other than, yes, I get that they're trying to brainwash us. I think JBL and Michael Cole told us quite a few times on commentary that that's what they're trying to do. But unless you're going down that route, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, in my opinion.
Well, no, but this is the point of the WWE that's getting bizarre. And I think you said it right at the beginning of this We Talk, where you said there were some strange bits, and this is one of them, because they've gone. It's the same with Daniel Bryan and Kane. I feel it's a little bit too out there.
I was going to say, what did you think of the match?
But it's out there. I thought the match was all right. I thought it was quite good. I mean, Cena looked like he wanted to get out there from the offset. I've never seen somebody climb the cage so many freaking times looking to get out, when he clearly knows that those two guys are waiting out there, so he ain't got a chance of getting out of the cage.
I was going to say, he's got some 2K14 glitch on him, doesn't he? That he hits a suplex and out he goes.
Yeah, I mean, that bit was a bit ridiculous. I mean, if you're not going to bar them from ringside, then
why were they out there the whole time?
Cage. How's he going to get out? I mean, they were like, it's to keep Eric Rowan and Luke Harper out. Yeah, but how does John Cena get out if they're out there? You know, it just...
I mean, for me, and, you know, I do like what Cena's done for the WWE, not necessarily the fact that he wins and he's got as many title reigns, but what he actually means to the WWE, and how the amount of time and effort he spends with everyone from the kids, you know, actually trying
kids.
new guys every now and then. But the problem with that match for me is, got a couple of things. One, it's in a cage. If it's a cage match, for God's sake, can someone just get rid of the door? I hate all that stuff with the door. If it's a cage match, I'll be going for pinfall submissions or go over the top, because there were a couple of interesting things, but I don't like the door.
I'd always go out the door.
That's exactly that's the problem. It's the easiest way out, and everyone's like, they must be really stupid if they're not using that door. Secondly, if it is going to be a cage match, you can't have the other guy standing outside, because for what became ridiculous for this is that essentially it was a handicap match in the end, and you want Wyatt to go over, but I mean, this is Super Cena again. This is an extended version of Super Cena. Not only is he suplexing people into the cage, you know, he's then taking on little kids as well when he gets outside. So it wouldn't have hurt, I don't think, John Cena for this just to be a one-on-one match, you know, and had the same ending. I don't see why it needed, you know, Luke Harper to be in there involved, and Eric Rowan on the outside climbing up. I mean, it looked good, but I think Cena came off of it far too strong again. Yeah,
I mean, you didn't see that bit coming though, did you? Really? Because I didn't get what was going on when they did that, and then it was like, what?
I know it was good.
I don't know what the hell was going on.
I mean, I like that, but I don't know what you've thought. You know, because I mean, other than that,
I don't know.
The final 10 seconds, did you think Cena was going out there with a win? And if he's going through the whole of the Wyatt family, God, what would that have done?
Well, the right person won again. He should have won at WrestleMania, in my opinion. But
It's because it was WrestleMania that he didn't.
Yeah, but he won. He won. And again, this is another story that seems to be continuing on. But as I say, this little boy, there has to be something coming out of this now.
As I said, the only way I can see this finishing is with a Cena completely deluded, kind of half heel turn. They probably won't turn him fully.
Can I just say, this is something that springs to mind though. Is this not just Bray Wyatt? Is this not just Daniel Bryan all over again? Do you not get? Do you know? I mean, with the Wyatt family, they have got a good gimmick. They are good. But there's only so many times you can do this sort of thing. They tried to brainwash Daniel Bryan. It didn't work. They tried to brainwash John Cena. It probably won't work and he will stay face. Who then do they go on to next? And do they do this again?
No, I mean, I think this is going to go for one more pay-per-view, isn't it?
But how do you expand the character apart from that they're just creepy and they like to try and put across their brainwashing on people? Because although they've done this thing with the kids and stuff, it's the same. It feels the same to me.
For me, you need to get this away from John Cena as quickly as possible. And whether I know if Cena is going away anywhere for a little while, or he's got something else going on. But they've got to sort John Cena out because he's not working as a face, and he's at the moment not working as a heel either. He's kind of I think the best word to describe his matches at the moment for the last few pay-per-views is awkward. You don't really get where they fit, and if you keep him near Bray Wyatt any longer, it is going to start damaging that character, in my opinion. What I see next for Bray Wyatt. Is another crack at Daniel Bryan and then trying to move him up.
The best thing for me to do with this feud is have them do away with Cena for a while.
Exactly.
Like when you used to take Undertaker out of the picture, he'd have like a casket match and he'd be gone, or a buried alive match and he'd be gone. I mean, they don't have to go to that extreme and have one of those style matches, but something that puts him out. I mean,
he needs to disappear for a couple of 2-3 months.
It needs to be done in a good way. It's not that he just gets injured, because you know what happens when he gets injured. He comes back and he's just more annoying than ever. But it needs to be like a they'd be good if they had like a little gimmick of how they take him out. Like, Taker used to put people in body bags and stuff. Do something like that with him. I mean, I'm trying to think of the most heinous things that we could do with John Cena and do away with him once and for all.
Go and get your list. Go on, go and get your list.
But did you see what I'm saying? They could do something good to do away with him. I mean, this kid thing, there could be something there. Like maybe, let's think of it. That's the kid that sort of puts the final nail in John Cena's coffin. There's a point where that kid has an option whether to stick it to Cena or stick it to Bray, and he sticks it to Cena.
Now,
that works.
Yeah, I mean, what we're essentially getting here is what happened to Hogan in WCW.
Brothers.
He was so far over in WWF, it was unbelievable, to the point where he could come back at WrestleMania 9, help Bret Hart out of the ring and go and steal the belt, 20 seconds later off Yokozuna. Send him to WCW and it was a different story. They didn't buy that vitamins and say your prayers and all that kind of stuff, did they? So the only option you had was to turn him heel. And that is where we are slowly getting with John Cena. There's still support for him, but there's not as many little kids yelling as there arguably used to be. And that is it. I mean, we are what? 11, 12 years into the Cena character now. Of course it's going to be stale by now. I get why they keep it for the merchandise and the amount of money they can make for him. But if obviously he's just going to peter out at some point, because you can't keep on doing the same stuff. And I mean, I think it's amazing that they've got away with it for as long as they have, but you need to do something different with him now. What that is, other than, because I think probably he would even like to turn heel. The amount he talks on house shows, even the one we went to was talking about it. So I think it has to happen. I just feel, for me, they missed a great opportunity. I think we said in the lead up to WrestleMania, I wanted to see him up against the Streak, have Taker win the Rumble, and then because then you could have had Cena as your champion, and and that kind of you wouldn't have known. I think Jim Ross said something similar on his podcast last week, but I'm still maintaining I had the idea first. And that, you know what I mean? That could have been his watershed moment, sided with McMahon or whatever it is. But they kind of, I feel like they missed a trick, and they are missing a trick with Cena because, I mean, even if they turn him now, and I still don't think they will, you feel like it's coming. It has to be so shocking with him that you know you'd never expect it.
Well, I think it's something to do with that's why the kid is heavily involved, because it's got to be something where he's got to make a decision. And whether he makes the wrong, or it's something to do with him not understanding why someone is siding with Bray Wyatt, why a little kid is like in that corner. There's going to be some sort of ridiculous thing about that kid. It's like John Cena's cousin of another cousin from another brother from another mother, or something like that. It's going to be something ridiculous. But all I would say is that it was kind of epic that the crowd were chanting, "John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks." I thought that was awesome.
But just going back, what we were saying, the problem they've got with John Cena is that they have to keep him there, even if it is best, and I think it is best for him to disappear for a little while because of the network and the amount of, you know, the share price and all of that. You lose John Cena, and
we can have a party.
You'd have an Adam Rose type party, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you know that's going to massively dent what that share price is worth, and I mean it might not. But you've only got to have a look at, you know, the share price dropped when Taker lost the streak. So it is silly things like that do have an impact on what happens on the outside world. But something's got to happen. I think we both agree on that. Something has got to happen with John Cena.
He's got to go away.
You're starting to sound like you're going to kidnap him at some point now. If he disappears under any, you know, strange circumstances, I'm coming looking for you and your house, and
I'm coming for you.
Maybe have a look in your garage or basement.
Yes, well, like you say, there's still a lot more going on with this storyline, so it will unfold. But as I say to you, I have a feeling this is going to be like the Extreme. It's going to like be something. It ties in with the episode. It's Extreme, but it's going to be something well out there. And I mean, talking about Extreme and being well out there, let's talk about the main event. The kind of build-up got lost, I think, in the main event, really, in terms of, okay, it did come to a culmination the last couple of weeks on Raw, but everything's been about Bray Wyatt, John Cena, and Evolution and the Shield. And this title match, Kane, for me, is a piss-poor opponent for Daniel Bryan because the gimmick sucks balls.
I think it's just awful timing, isn't it, with Daniel Bryan, with the amount that he's had going on in his personal life with his father and getting married, obviously the other way around. So there's been a lot going on. I know you're not Kane's biggest fan, and I'm not normally, but now they're rebranding him as a demon. I actually quite liked what we got from these two in this match. I know you're going to disagree, but it was hard hitting. It was. I like the old, you know, kind of Attitude Era kind of use of the forklift truck and all that kind of stuff, and the tire irons and all that. And actually, the kind of, I don't know if it was meant to be humorous, but the humorous moment of when he actually drove the forklift truck to the ring and dumped him in. The tables thing kind of. Was good. It was good throwback to, you know, the ECW kind of era. It was interesting that they actually it finished on Kane's music, didn't it, the match? So obviously he'd hit him with everything. He's hit him with a tire iron, and they seemed to be making him into that mold of what Kane should be and what we actually wanted him to be again, which is this kind of unstoppable monster. Because I mean, he hit him with a tire iron over the head, did all sorts of things to him, and he still kept coming. And I think that's what we want from Kane. So I'm not gonna say that I didn't like what I saw, because that's what I've wanted Kane to do for a while. And again, I really enjoyed the match. I was like you, not expecting that I was going to enjoy it at all, and I actually found myself, you know, thinking this is actually something I actually like watching. Yeah,
it's not that I didn't like the match. The match was all right. The match was okay. I just don't like what Kane has become. I don't buy it. I'm not into it. I don't get it. Okay, you repackage him as a demon. Was he not a demon when he came back before then, when he feuded with John Cena around about this time a while ago? And yet again, it failed then. It will fail now. It failed then because they had to have John Cena beat him. Right, Daniel Bryan just beat him, and
I think that's the difference, though, is that John Cena would have hammered him, and Daniel Bryan threw absolutely everything at him, and still at the end he still got up. And you felt, if he'd actually started stalking Daniel Bryan, it would have been too much. So I liked how they actually left it in the ring, and he's basically gave him that, like, this is not over. I don't necessarily think we're going to see those guys again. But like I said, I liked what they did with Kane.
But he looks shit.
It's only because you want the masky first, Kane.
Yeah, no, don't have the stupid fake hair then on the mask. It's just crap. It just looks shit. He grew that
2 weeks.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Look. To me, the match was fine. It had some good spots in it, like you say, the forklift driving into the ring, the table on fire. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, albeit that he got caned with fire extinguishers.
That's what won the match.
But
couldn't see, breathe, or anything. And he weren't on fire.
It's just Kane's gimmick. I can't buy it. Look, you repackage him as a demon, right? You'll repackage him as a demon only as far as it goes to the point where you then decide that you want him to be a funny character again, or you want him to be the corporate Kane again, and you devalue the demon character 100%. It's not worth it. Stop putting him in main event pictures.
Because I was going to say, well, let's see if they leave him this time, and if they
well,
don't, you can make me eat my words.
It'll still be corporate Kane. He's still corporate Kane. That mask will be coming off again soon. He's got a split personality now. I'm sure that's what they're playing towards.
He's not doing Abyss, is he?
Yeah, well, this is it. Go over to TNA, right? And I know, look, everyone will be like, oh, it's nothing like TNA. That's rubbish. But it's similar. It's similar. You got a guy over there with a split personality who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and you got a guy over here with a split personality who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And that's the problem.
Is Kane has more personalities than Abyss.
Dude, look, you could have made Kane as good as The Undertaker, and they dropped the ball every step of the way. I know they're trying to re-establish it now, very well done in doing that, and as I say, I've got nothing against the fact that, like you said, at the end of the match, it was an odd way to end the pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan's big moment again, but obviously they wanted to put over that Kane's still strong, and he can still move forward. But the issue that I have with it is that this look is the same look he had at Extreme Rules when, I think it was Extreme Rules, when he faced, was it Extreme Rules? When he faced John Cena?
I can't remember. It's the look he had a year ago, isn't it?
Someone will tell us in the comments box below. Someone will remind us, I'm sure. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let me know via the comments box below. But whatever pay-per-view it was, this is what happened then, and it's going to happen again now, that this character is not evolved, and it's just the same garbage again. And then they'll get bored of it, and then they'll think, oh, Kane, you can go and, dance with Booker T or play with JBL, or I don't know. It's Kane.
These are all things Kane likes doing, by the way, just to clarify. But it's one of those, we're not going to know. It's one of the, we need to see what.
Don't get me wrong.
This time, I mean, he's probably the most rebranded character, isn't he, in the whole of the WWE?
You look at the amount of looks that he's had throughout his time, and ultimately the best look he ever had was the first look.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, if they get him towards this unstoppable demon, I can buy into that. But you kind of have to reset your mind that he's been a joke for the last.
You got to do this for a long time. I mean, even the corporate Kane looks rubbish with fucking vest and suit trousers. A
very, very easy create your wrestler to make, though.
Yeah. Like I say, if you're going to establish this Kane demon character, you've got to do this for like a year now, and he's not allowed to lose apart from big name matches like against the Daniel Bryan. He's got to keep tearing the competition apart, and I just can't see WWE sticking to their guns and doing that because they're too wishy-washy when it comes to Kane. I don't get me wrong though, the match was a good one. good spots. Considering it's called Extreme Rules, it was extreme, albeit a bit too gimmicky. I would have just preferred if they'd had a lot more spots in the ring, like, you know, a couple of decent chair shots. I know that there's a ban on chair shots, but every now and again, one to the head ain't really going to hurt, is it?
Oh, controversial. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there with concussions that probably disagree.
Come on, man. I just watched the WCW's greatest pay-per-view matches, and I've watched Cactus Jack whoopah all over Vader with steel chairs, and look how far it got Mick Foley, and Vader. They're perfectly fine.
Yeah, well, Mick Foley, I'll do anything for money. No, I know what you mean, but I don't have any issue with them not hitting over the head with the chair. I prefer it that they don't. They got used far too much, and ECW kind of dumbed that down for a lot of us. It used to really mean something, didn't it? When you brought in a foreign object. We are going right off tangent here, but it used to mean quite a lot. You know, it was the defining moment of a match, and it did get cheapened, I think, quite a lot with ECW. But like you said, it was good to see elements of it back in that match last night. I hope it's the beginning of doing something proper with Kane, particularly as the Undertaker doesn't look like he's going to really be around much now. But I'm sure they ruin it by Raw tonight.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of continuation for Raw. So you obviously got developments with Cesaro moving forward. You've got Bad News Barrett looking for new feuds, possibly a rematch with Big E. You got the Shield and Evolution. That's not done by a long shot, I don't think. Paige has still got continued developments with probably Tamina, I would say. And then you've obviously got John Cena and Bray Wyatt way not done yet, because we've got to find out what this little kid's doing. And last but not least, Daniel Bryan and Kane. I still think there's something to go with these two. So yeah, lots to talk about on Raw.
No, definitely. Like we said at the very beginning, felt like a holding pay-per-view, but one that overall I quite liked. There were slightly odd bits, but overall, yeah, I thought it was all right.
So don't get me wrong, it's a very hard pay-per-view to live up to, considering what the pay-per-view before it was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's it completely. And they have gone the other way in previous years, haven't they, when they had Lesnar come in the night after Mania and just beat the crap out of John Cena. And that kind of set that benchmark for what we kind of expect after Mania. But WWE don't help themselves either, because they always hype up that Raw after Mania as well. And yeah, it was good this year, but it wasn't like the ones we've had previous years. But no, it still feels like, as I said, holding, but it feels like it's all going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Other than Bray Wyatt. Time will tell.
Yeah, that's it. Time will tell. So I think that draws another We Talk to conclusion. I think we gave it our all in this one, and we went to the extreme with this review. So, I mean, yeah, lots to talk about on Raw. Don't forget, guys, make sure you do follow us on Twitter at Delzinski, at Weeds_world. Yeah, oh my God, nearly got it wrong then.
You botched me.
Oh dear. Well, could be worse. Could get every single fact wrong every week. That's a lot worse.
Yeah, don't do that anymore. It's quite annoying.
Oh, all right, fine. But yeah, I mean, yeah, don't forget to follow us on the Twitter machines. I'll leave a link in the description box below. And obviously, let us know your views, your opinions on Extreme Rules. How do you think things are going to play out with Bray Wyatt, the Shield and Evolution, Daniel Bryan and Kane, new feuds? What do you think's going on? Did you enjoy the pay-per-view? And what was your score out of 10? What would you give it, Weeds?
I'd go for a 6 or 7. 6. Let's say 6.
I'll be more generous. I'll give it 6.5. Anyway, guys, that's all from me. So I'm off to obviously go and watch Raw this evening. Weez, do you want to say goodbye and do any sort of... one more thing before I let you go and do your pluggies. I've got a roster video out. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. I'll leave a link in the description box below. It's WWE 2K15, so be sure to go check that out. It probably will come up in this video somewhere for you to click on because I'm trying to get it out there a bit. So make sure you go check that out. And Weeds, have you got anything to put over now?
Yeah, just check out my channel, The Weeds World. It's still quite new, but adding stuff to it all the time. And like Delzinski said, if you have not checked out his roster video yet, make sure you do, because it is one of the best put together videos I've seen on YouTube in quite a long time. And it's got the Iron Sheik in it as well, so that's a bit of a bonus.
You motherfucker. No, thanks very much for that. It was very nice of you. So yeah, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out Weeds' channel. And this is Delzinski and Weeds signing out.